Hi friends, welcome back to Faith and Arrow Homestead. My name is Jaylee and today we are in my pantry, although if you've been here for a while, you know that I actually call this my homesteading room. This is the downstairs spare bedroom and I have converted it into what I call my homesteading room. I'm going to give you a total tour of it and in that includes my pantry. I did this because I was storing my homesteading supplies and equipment all over the house and it was getting really out of hand and I decided that I wanted one place to put all of my stuff. I can close the door, it gets crazy in here during the summertime and it's not spilling into the rest of the house. So that's how this room came to be. I have a video on how I converted this bedroom into this room. I ripped up the carpets. It was awesome. I really like that video. I'll link it down in the description for you. I also have a pantry tour from last year that I titled a first year homesteader's pantry. And so now I'm a second year homesteader. This is my second year doing this. I'm going to take you through and show you, what it looks like in here after my second year of homesteading. I want to go ahead and warn you though that I almost didn't film this because I am pretty disappointed in myself, although I'm working on that feeling. This year has been really crazy. I've left my hospital job. I've started working my YouTube channel full time as well as doing the home health thing that I've been doing. And other stuff has been going on that I haven't revealed to you guys yet. There's just a lot happening this year. And so I have definitely let the gardening and the food preservation and all of those tasks fall to the wayside this year. And I'm not happy about it. As I was going through and straightening up in here to film this video, I thought, should I even do this? Because the first video, the first homesteading pantry tour that I did last year, I really liked it. I felt really good about it. I really was very proud of the work that I had done that year, and I was excited to show you guys. This year, I am disappointed in myself, and really the food that I've put up is what it comes down to. But I decided I'm going to show you anyway because there are some new things to share with you, and also there's value in saying, you know what, I did the best I could this year, and we're just going to try again next year and do better next year. So I want to get started here. This is my main shelving unit that I have in here. I had this first, and then we added these racks when I put this room together. And so here is where I keep the majority of my canned goods. And I'll actually bring the camera over here in a moment and we'll go through this more thoroughly. And then behind me here, I have these shelving units that we installed. They're actually installed to the wall. If you watch my pantry tour from last year, I said this year we're gonna fill these up with canned foods. It's gonna be awesome. And I have hardly any canned food on here. In fact, I have enough room over here that I could move these there if I really wanted to. So that's the part that's been disappointing for me, but we're gonna move on from it. I store some of my empty jars. These jars are jars that were full of food and I washed them and put them back because I also have jars over here. Those have never been used. These are used, cleaned, ready to be used again. I also store my bulk dry goods down here. So I've got oats, flour, sugar, wheat berries, all that is down on the bottom. I've got baskets over there. I'm gonna start storing my dry mixes in here. So we just put these together recently in a video, my banana bread mix, my snickerdoodle mix, and my cinnamon roll mix, which this is actually empty. We made these together, and I haven't refilled it yet. So this is my food storage area right here. That's what this part of the room predominantly is. Now I'm gonna shift the camera and show you the rest of the room. So this is the door to come into this room from the hallway. And when you walk into my homesteading room, I have a table here, a little workstation, and then to my right, I have my seed starting setup. I actually have some things in here right now. I have other things too, but it's a really nice day out. It's almost 60 today, which is weird because it's the middle of November. So I have those outside getting some sunshine, but I normally have trays here with stuff on them. Chamomile, basil, things like that, lettuces. But then down here, there are two notable things that I want to point out to you. I have rosemary and I have peppers down here. I actually had a viewer, one of my gardening videos that I put up, I had somebody comment and say, did you know that you can overwinter peppers? And so she suggested that I get the pepper plant out of the ground, put it in a pot, feed it really well, get it established, and bring it in. And so I did. I've got two of them down here. And actually, as I'm filming this, I'm really glad that I'm doing this today because this has got to go outside. Because this plant, these pepper plants, are absolutely covered in little bugs I have no idea like where they came from or how it happened, but they're covered in these little bugs. And the plants look weird. Like look how that's like weird and shiny. I don't know what that means. Here's a really good example. They've got these weird little green bugs all over them. I have no, and it's sad too because they're doing so well. They've got new growth on them. They're taking off. They're really doing well in here, but they're just covered in little bugs. And it's so gross. And to be honest with you guys, Tom does not know about this. And I've got to get these outside before he figures it out because Tom hates bugs in the house. Hates it. I mean, I do too. Who wouldn't? I really don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why they have bugs on them. I don't know what the bugs are. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to harvest the peppers that are on them, and these are going to go outside, and I'm just going to throw them in the compost pile. I don't even know. But I do have 3 rosemary plants. I'm actually really excited about them. So this one is actually going on its 3rd year. It's not 3 years yet. It's 2 years and some change. My neighbor gave me this rosemary plant 2 summers ago. She gave it to me at the end of the season, and it was planted in her little garden box, and I put it in a pot, and I brought it inside, and it lasted the winter. And then this year, I planted it outside. It did great, grew a bunch, and then I dug it up, and I put it in a pot to bring it in this winter. And so it's been really hanging in there, and it's huge now. It's like tripled in size since when she first gave it to me. And last year, I loved having rosemary inside. Absolutely loved having it. And I cooked with it a ton. I put it on my breakfast. Rosemary is my favorite herb. So I love having some indoors. So this is the same one. This one's, she's a senior. She's been around a little while. But then I also have 2 others that I planted them outside this year after buying them at the farmer's market. And I just dug them up and brought them in too, because why not? So those are staying inside. And then like I said, I've got some basil and some chamomile, some lettuces and things like that outside getting some sun. And yeah, so that's what's going on over here. And then over here we have my computer desk with my computer. This is where I do all of my editing and all of my computer work, my website work and everything. And then this is the closet that this spare bedroom had, and I use it as my storage. So actually let's start there and we'll get that out of the way really quick. So it is not anything crazy special. It's going to be hard to show you because it's such a small space. I hang up all of my aprons here. I've got so many aprons. I love it. A ton of them. They're all hanging there. And then I've got my Excalibur dehydrator down there. I've got my roaster oven, some miscellaneous stuff. And then when you come up, I've got extra supplies, mandolin slicer, my food chopper. And then on this next shelf, I've got a couple more supplies, my apple peeler, and then you start to get into my overflow jars and some canning equipment in the corner there. And then moving up, more jars. Those are like glass containers that I can't bring myself to throw away because I'll use them someday. More jars, and then up top, on the very top, is where I keep my equipment. My food saver goes here, which that's in the kitchen. I'm using it today. My All-American canner, my water bath canner. So it's just really great having somewhere to put all of my equipment and overflow stuff so it's not elsewhere in the house. It's really wonderful. We're gonna move over here to talk about what's on the shelf. Up top, I keep extra vinegars, extra rings, lemon juice and things like that. Next, I have some bags of onions hanging here. This bag of onions I purchased from the farmer's market. This bag of onions I grew. I found these bags, I think at Wegmans, I don't remember, but I love them because it's so easy to see what's going on in here. And what I've been doing, because my onions, this was my first year growing and trying to cure onions, and I don't think I didn't do it right, clearly, because they've been sprouting like crazy. But I love this bag because it helps me see if something has sprouted. Do you see how it's like sticking out right here? There's a little sprout, and so I can reach in and grab it, and I have a sprouted onion, which is fine. And so I'll just use this one immediately. And so I love this thing because it's really helped me keep an eye on them and use them up as I've needed to. So up here, this shelf is probably one of the saddest shelves for me in terms of struggling with my feelings of disappointment, because last year this was my tea shelf. I did such a good job last year growing and harvesting mint and chamomile, raspberry leaves, all sorts of delicious, yummy tea stuff. And I've done a terrible job with it this year, which actually these things need to move up here. So this year I have, oh, and it was not just tea, it was also other herbs as well. So this year all I have are, I've got some dill, some sage, and some basil that I grew and dehydrated. A couple other miscellaneous things, and then over here I've got some pepper. I've kind of been collecting dried peppers because I've been experimenting in the kitchen with them, so I've got some of those there. And then these things here were actually sent to me by a viewer. I've got some various seeds and different things like that that I'm storing up there. So yeah, I'm definitely really sad that I did such a poor job storing things for tea, because I really love tea in the wintertime, and obviously because of the time that we live in, I can still enjoy it. I can purchase things from Azure, I can purchase pre-made tea from the store, I could still have tea, but I just really loved having homegrown tea last year, and I won't be able to enjoy that as much this year. So, lesson learned. Down on this next shelf, I'm storing my bulk maple syrup that I purchased, and then here I have more vegetable-based stuff. So I've got some salsas, some pasta sauces, some canned onions and peppers and things like that. Got some banana peppers, got some jarred red onions and things like that. Some relishes. I actually only have one jar of relish left, which I'm so sad now that I'm seeing this. That is terrible. This was on my list. I actually really wanted to film this for you because pepper onion relish is one of my absolute favorite pantry staples, and I just never got around to it this year. That's so sad. Next year. We're going to do better next year. And then down here is more fruit-based. I've got some peaches, apple juice, pears, and some cranberry sauce and different jams and whatnot. I did not can any of this year. These two boxes are all 2022 stuff that I'm still working on getting through. Here I've got a bunch of apple butters. We canned these this year, but don't be impressed because they're for gifts. I have a whole apple butter video where I made it for my apple butter cookies gifts that I'm giving this year. And that's what this bag is. I just stuck it here because it goes together. I've got some black beans that I did can this year. Woo, did something this year. Pressure canned those, and so that's kind of what I've got going on over here. A lot of this isn't even staying, it's going to people. So it looks like I've got a lot, I really don't. And then down here, this is my bulk Azure stuff and other bulk stuff. So I've got a lot of rice, seeds, popcorn, different types of beans. I got a box of coconut water, some chocolate chips and cacao nibs. And I really like this down here. I like having a spot to put all of my brown bagged overflow Azure stuff. And it's really convenient for me to come in here and pull it off the shelf. I do it with the chocolate chips, with the rice, with the popcorn. I come in here all the time and just grab what I need down here, and it's really convenient. So we've pivoted slightly. That shelving unit's behind me here, and this is the rack, the bottom rack that's attached to the wall. These were the one thing that really, really blessed me this year, and I did not even plant it. I got a bunch of butternut squashes off of a volunteer butternut squash plant that I didn't even plant. And I've already eaten one of them. They're delicious. They're gonna store so well. They're beautiful. That is gorgeous. This came out of my garden. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I did try to put up tomato sauce this year. That's the one thing that I've really put an effort into. So I do have some of that here. I had more of it, but I've already been going through it pretty quickly. So next year, well, you know what? We'll talk about that in a second. But some tomato sauces here. I've got some broths, some beef broth and some chicken broth that I did in my pressure canner earlier this year. I could very easily can more, but I've actually been freezing it, and I think I like freezing it better. And then I've got some salsas that I canned this year. I did do that. So I did do some canning this year, but really not a lot, you guys. That's what I've been struggling with in terms of feeling disappointed. I just did not put up food this year like I'm supposed to. I'm trying to have some grace with myself, but I am definitely struggling with some feelings of disappointment, for sure. So let's talk about next year, because obviously this year did not go the way that I really wanted it to, and that's okay. So next year, I am focusing on food production big time. big time, because that's what happened. This year I had some bad garden soil. My seed starting did not go the way that I had planned. I lost a lot of stuff. And then around the time that my garden really needed me to pay attention to it and focus on it, I left the hospital. And so my garden didn't produce very well. And that's part of the reason I didn't put up a lot of food. Now, that's no excuse, because I definitely could have gone to the farmer's market and supplemented with local purchased items. But I haven't really had the money, the time, and honestly, it's just excuses. I just didn't do it. So next year, I am focusing on food production. The past couple of years, I've just been figuring my garden out. I've been learning how to garden. I've been getting the soil in place and getting the infrastructure in place. This year, when I was purchasing my seeds, I was thinking, oh, this is my second year gardening on my YouTube channel. People are gonna wanna see really fun, interesting plants. I purchased all sorts of weird, funky things that the seeds didn't even germinate. So, I mean, it was a bit of a fail this year. Next year, I am focusing on food production. The list of things I'm growing next year is gonna be short, and I'm gonna be growing a lot of them. For example, in the past, I've had beds have a number of different flowers, different vegetables, different herbs. Next year, my garden's gonna look a lot like having beds full of tomatoes, having beds full of peppers, having a bed dedicated to onions, having a bed dedicated to herbs. I think it's going to probably look a lot less fun, and like, I love for my gardens to look kind of wild and interesting. Like, you go in and you don't know what you can expect. I don't think it's gonna be like that next year. I think it's gonna be a lot of growing what we eat and trying to preserve what we eat. And I definitely want to focus next year on putting up food and being able to eat on that food in the wintertime. Because as we're going into the wintertime now, I'm like, man, I got like nothing. I've got like pretty much nothing. So next year I want to do better. But I still think that this was worth filming because, you know, that's life. That's reality. Some years just don't go as well as others. Even if it wasn't you, like, even if it was your garden failed because you had a giant hailstorm that killed half your garden, or maybe you, like me, ended up with bad soil and you lost all your nightshades, or, you know, whatever the case may be, whatever that looks like for you, it's okay. You've got to have a little grace with yourself, and you've got to be able to let things go and say, you know what, we're just going to do better next time. And so that's what I'm doing here today. And so when I come here to you next year for the 3rd year homesteading pantry tour, I'm not going to put any expectations on myself like I did last year. I'm not going to say, well, I want this shelf to look like this and I want a bunch of this preserved, because the fact of the matter is, this is an unpredictable lifestyle. Gardening especially. I could sit here and say, I want this whole bottom shelf to be full of sauce. I have no idea if I'm going to get enough tomatoes to put up that much sauce. I'm not putting any expectations on myself. I'm just going to set goals. Like, I want to be able to grow more food for preservation next year. That's a goal, but I'm not going to say we're doing this. I'm going to say we're going to try and do this. So I wish I could come to you guys today like those other YouTubers and have shelves upon shelves of beautifully canned food. And I wish I could say, oh, we've got this and we canned this new thing and we tried this and it's really good. I love those videos. Aren't those videos just the best? And someday I'm sure I will come to you with a video like that, but it's not happening this year. So I thank you for watching this anyway. I thank you for coming along with me on this crazy journey. Especially if you've been with me for a little while, you've kind of seen the ups and downs of me trying to figure this out. And if you're new here, I'm sure there'll be more in the future, but this is real, man. I'm just a normal person trying to be a homesteader, trying to grow food and put up food, trying to cook from scratch, trying to nourish my family. And sometimes I do great and sometimes I don't do so great. And that's just reality. I mean, it is what it is. So I thank you guys for sticking with me regardless of that. And I can't wait to see you in my next video. Have faith, my friends, and keep moving forward. Bye.